Hello, fellow human! Welcome back to another Dank Doggo r slash I Don't Work Here, lady! We have 4 stories in total for you guys today. The first story is posted by you slash Clammy Hydra. Older lady thought I was bringing her a shopping cart to use in the grocery store. Yesterday, I was running in a gauntlet at my local grocery store. I picked up a disinfectant wipe at the door and went to the car station and wiped down the cart I was going to use. I was finally satisfied, so I start pushing back to the door to throw away the used wipe just as an old lady comes through the door. She smiles really big and says, "Oh, thank you," and moves to her cart. I said, "You're welcome." Then I grabbed another wipe and went to get another cart. I'm glad she got a cart. I was sure it wouldn't give her the virus. Alright, thank you for being a decent human being, helping out the elderly and all that. On to the second story written by you slash MF Stevenson 1. I got fired from Walmart and never worked there. About a year ago, I worked selling solar panel system. This job required me to wear khakis, a blue polo when I was meeting customers. One particular day, after meeting with a homeowner, I had to stop by at my local Walmart to get more pens and a notepad for my work bag. I pretty consistently got asked if I worked there by other customers, and I would help if I knew what they were after, but I always told them that I didn't work there, and they always kind. So this fateful day, I grabbed my pens and paper and checked out in the self-checkout section. As I was leaving, I heard someone say behind me, "And where do you think you're going?" Now, a little bit about me. I try to mind my own business as much as possible, and I don't like to get wrapped up in other people's drama. When I hear outbursts like that in public, I assume it's not because of me. I also try to follow the rules as much as possible. In this case, I assume it wasn't me because I paid for everything, so I continue to my car. Roughly 30 feet from my car, I hear again, "Hey, you! Stop!" I do turn around at that one because that's typically what you say to a thief. An employee who can only be described as Karen is marching towards me. 8 different kinds of piss off. She starts screaming into me about how I'm abandoning my shift and I'm not supposed to get off for another 3 hours. I'm standing there bewildered because I'm genuinely have no clue what she's talking about, and I try to let her know that I don't work there, but she won't let me get a word in. Eventually she says, "Forget it, you are fired." I wait about 5 seconds and told her, "I don't work here. I've never worked here." She stared at me, admitted it, "Sorry," and ran back inside. I'm still not sure what happened, but that's my tale of being fired from a job I never work at. Hope it brought you some joy. Oh, it's funny how tables could have turned if OP demanded to speak for her manager and demand to fire her instead. But OP was a good dude that hates drama, so all good. On to the third story shared by you slash Is That My Waffle? A wild Karen meets her match. For background, I'm a police officer in Australia. I work in plain clothes. At work, I wear my business shirt with tie, suit pants, and have my utility belt with gun, taser, pepper spray, and all other necessary accoutrements on the belt, and I also have a police badge clipped to my belt and another police badge with my work ID around my neck. This incident also happened while coronavirus was spreading rapidly. Most business had been closed by the government mandate. People have to ensure they are practicing social distancing or they can be fined. The government hasn't mandated it that people stay at home but have limited the number of people allowed in groups, no contact with strangers, and you should only out for work or essential supplies. It's all important to know that in Australia, members of the public cannot carry firearms in public, and it's difficult to get a license to even possess a firearm. A few days ago, I was at work and my partner needed to buy supplies from an office supply store nearby. The staff at this store wore far blue polo shirts. We went to the store and my partner was getting everything she needed. I was waiting when I hear a screeching voice from behind me. "Where are the chargers?" I turn around and see this Karen standing there, her arms crossed, glaring at me. Now let me remind you that I'm wearing all my work gear and a bright pink long sleeve business shirt. I say to the Karen, I'm not sure where the Karen is not impressed and cuts me off, steps very close to me, well within what I consider my personal space at the best of times, but when I'm at work, it's an offensive gestures. Karen then screeches, You work here! How the hell do you not know where the chargers are? I looked the Karen dead in the eye and with a stern voice and said, First thing, I don't work here. And second thing, I'm a police officer. I point at my gun, taser, and badge. Third, think you are currently breaching social distancing laws and can be fined. Step back now. The Karen quickly turned around and ran from the store. I'm just happy that actual staff didn't have to deal with her because she was rude from the start. I should have pointed out that phone charger isn't even an essential purchase. Edit. Our government deems essential items as food and medicine. You can also go outside to exercise or travel to work. I'm a 32 years old and for me personally, a phone charge is essential. I live off my house, but is anything a Karen wants really essential? Well, this is why I can't be an officer. I want to taser her just by reading this, right? And the final story is posted by u/Vatican Camos 714. My wife, 27 years old female, and I, 28 years old female, were at Wally World a couple years ago for a new garden hose reel. We were talking about over different options, not 3 inches from each other, when this lady actually pushes me out of the way to speak to my wife. My wife was just wearing jeans and a hoodie, so there's no way she looked like an employee. Karen, excuse me, where's the dog shampoo? My wife is just trying to be helpful. Oh, I could look in the pet section. Karen rolls her eyes. I already did. I didn't see the brand I want. My wife, oh, that sucks. Sympathetic look. Assuming the conversation was over, my wife turns back to the shelf. I had gotten irritated when the woman pushed me aside, but had just assumed that she was a rude person trying to get to the items on the shelf. I moved to step around her, but she tapped my wife rather forcefully on the shoulder. Now, I know I have an anger issue, so unless my wife sends signals for help, I try to let her handle things or else run the risk of causing a scene. So I watch quietly, waiting. Karen, excuse me? You have to help me. My wife, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't know where your item is. Maybe you should ask someone if they can carry that brand here. Karen, isn't it your job to know these things? Turns to me and gestures my wife. What an idiot. Me, comprehending the trouble before my wife. She doesn't work here. The entitled shopper looked at me like I had just spoken a foreign language. For a moment, she kept glancing between me and my wife before recognition settled in. Karen, oh, turns back to my wife. Oh, the way you were helping your friend, I just assumed you worked here. My wife smiled nervously, but I was still kind of pissy, and that woman had pushed me away. Me, my wife, and I are trying to decide what to buy. Squeezed my body between her, and my wife excused us. The woman continued to stare at us. I didn't look at her directly, but I could feel the hole she was burning into the side of my skull start to smoke. Before she walked away, we heard her say, Well, that is just not right. My wife and I sighed and went back to comparing hose reels. Some people. It's nuts that how Karen thought Opie's wife was just an employee. She wrote nothing even remotely resembles one. Not to mention typical entitled behaviors of Karen, pushing other paying customers aside, interrupting shopping experience of others just to ask where some random items are. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Dank Doggo appreciates your time. If you enjoy our content and want to see more of us, stay tuned and subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button and ring the bell, or Doggo will cry. Also, you can always tell us your friendly neighborhood doggo, your experiences in the comment section. I will catch up with you guys later in the next video.